So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 6th planetary conjunction video. And today we're going to be covering our conjunction of Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn. And what happens when Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn are conjunct in your horoscope. And as always, if you do not know, if you have this conjunction, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details, check out the link here. Check out my full astrological report on option 5, astrologykrs.com, along with my books, reports, consultations, and link to my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, where I'm currently teaching divisional charts. Tomorrow I'm going to be teaching the Samsa chart, and a lot of you keep asking, can I join the next batch or next year? I don't care. You can join any. You can join in 20 years. You can join probably when I'm even not here on this planet in physical form, because there's no, I'm not going to keep teaching this over and over again. Once it's done, you can just watch it from the beginning. And just like the first students who join, you're going to see the exact same thing as they did. So yeah, it's just like, I'm just going to create this one thing from 0 to 100, and you have anytime, anywhere you can watch this. So anyway, let's talk about our 6 planetary conjunctions. So when you have 6 planets, anytime you have 4 or more planets, you're going to be confused. You're going to feel confused. Because the fact it's a cluster of all these people living together in one home, one room. You know, imagine like I'm in this room and I have like 5 other people that I don't know, that some I don't even like, and now I have to live with them. It's not going to be comfortable. And at the same time, you got to see the luminaries, the 2 luminaries, Sun, Moon are together in one house. This calls Amavasya. Whether it's Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha, doesn't matter. It's a no moon. It's a dark moon. A dark moon is failed to produce the Soma. Because you see, you got to understand one thing. Soma, there's a Soma chakra right there. And when you do certain mudras with your tongue and meditate, the Soma, okay, releases from here and becomes from a drip to flow to flood, as Vasant Lat said, one of the greatest Ayurvedic doctors out there. So moon provides this Soma. That's the elixir, meaning that is the, what do you call, the substance that makes us feel good and happy. Okay. I forgot it's such a common name. You know, I'm so involved in work. I'm like even forgetting my language. I gotta take a break. God, what is it called? Now I'm curious. What? Endorphins. That's what it is. So Soma is the one that releases it. And now here Soma is dark. So a person has potential of, periodically becoming depressed. Because not only they're confused, they have the lack of Soma. Okay. And at the same time, you have the intoxicated Venus here. So person, the mind is dark while it's intoxicated, and Mars is there to bring cuts and bruises to these planets. Rahu is there to provide the intoxicant, the alcohol. Rahu is there to make a person break rules, become immoral. Okay. Now remember, mostly everybody is immoral. Somehow, some way, Rahu, whenever it's conjunct a planet, it's going to corrupt it. Now, immoral doesn't mean that you're going to murder somebody, kill somebody, this and that. Immoral simply means that willing to get what you want, without worrying about other people. That's what it means really in Jyotish terms. So great businessmen and entrepreneurs are like, I want to get that. Fine, I'll hire people in China at $2 an hour, $1 an hour. But I want to get this product out so I can make this money. That's being immoral. That's not following the way. Now, they're not killing anybody. They could be admired by millions of people. Okay. But are they doing the right thing? Morally? No, they're not. But they're creating jobs somewhere else. So they may think, well, I'm doing the right thing. And especially when it comes to like education, such a person will naturally be attracted to computer programming, will be attracted to psychology, clinical psychology, psychotherapy. I have actually seen this conjunction with someone, especially in the ascendant and fifth house. They went into psychotherapy. Why? Because remember, most psychotherapists dealt with issues of their own. And because they dealt with issues of their own, they want to become that. Nobody wants to become a psychotherapist out of the blue. Okay, so if you're a psychotherapist watching this, let me know. Why is it that you became a psychotherapist? You must have encountered something in your own life. Whether it was your father who was psycho and you suffered, or you had these things and you realized you were doing these things wrong, but it's the cluster that creates that. Like when, especially with Mars Rahu, when this person gets angry, especially when they're in a fire or air sign, I mean, it's just watch out. They can break things. You know, so it's not an easy conjunction to have and to deal with. And I'm sorry, not Rahu, Saturn. Saturn. So I don't know why I keep, you know, this is the second time I am filming this video because I added Rahu. And I started talking about Rahu. There's something, I don't know why Rahu wants me to talk about Rahu in this conjunction. Now, I'm being honest. It's supposed to be Saturn and I'm talking about Rahu. So yes, with Rahu, I have seen the psychotherapy, which I can add in my next conjunction. Of when I talk about Rahu in the next conjunction, I'm going to add this. But with Saturn, mechanical engineers. With Saturn, I see people who, especially with all of these planets, like to go into sociology. With this conjunction, now you got to remember one other thing. With all these planets, most of them could be combust. Pretty much all of them could be combust. And if that happens, a person will not be able to get an education. Education will be the hardest thing to accomplish. But obviously, Jupiter is outside of it. Now, if Jupiter aspects this conjunction, let's say you have this conjunction in the sign of Aries, Jupiter aspects it from the sign of Sagittarius or Leo. Well, okay, there's this corrupted Jupiter. Now, let's say Jupiter is directly opposite to this, receiving all these harsh aspects, or with Rahu and Ketu, it can still corrupt it. A person will be like, what am I getting an education in? What am I trying to do here? And Saturn, as you know, is a slow-moving planet. Saturn is a slow-moving planet. It's a rebellious planet. It's a planet of commitment, duty, okay? And so this actually becomes a bit of a harsh conjunction, because not only a person has to deal with their own demons, with the depression, with not having the soma, but Saturn and Mars conjunction in this, especially with Saturn corrupts the mind, meaning a person gets dirty thoughts. Person may constantly think of thoughts that they do not want to think about. And especially Venus is here, and this can create. First of all, this particular conjunction will definitely delay the marriage. This can definitely delay the marriage, and early marriages can end up in divorces. Because Venus is with all these harsh planets, and you got to remember something about Mercury. When Mercury is with 2 or more malefic planets, it behaves malefic. How many benefic planets you have here? Just Venus. And it's a secondary benefic to Jupiter. And then you've got Saturn, Mars, Sun, and dark moon, which is a malefic moon. And so Mercury with 4 planets will behave malefic, even if it's with its friend Venus. It's not going to help Venus. So definitely there's a struggle with women, struggle with marriage, relationship, and struggle with wanting to express yourself creatively. One can be extremely creative if this is happening in the 3rd house, but how much result can they get out of that creativity? Like that soma, the juice of creativity will be lacking. So that's especially with Saturn happen. Now, if Rahu was there, Rahu may be able to, help a person in an unorthodox way to bring out their talent. But Saturn is, first of all, with its arch enemy, Sun. Saturn also does not like Moon. Saturn and Mars are neutral. They can work together, but they're 2 malefic planets. Okay. And so Venus is here, being crunched in all these wars. Like, one thing I can say with this conjunction, a person may not even know what love is. They may get married, they may be in a relationship, they might not know what love is. They may lack the feeling and sensation of love. And yes, that can be dangerous in a way, depending upon how close Venus is with all these planets. Now, if all these planets are, you know, within 10 degrees, Venus is at 25 degrees, okay, there's a bit of a space. But the closer Venus is to these conjunctions, but still, this conjunction is working. When they're in the same house, it's working. It's a full aspect on everything, you know. So it can create a person who's, can create a sociopath, you know. So it's, again, 4 or more planets. It's a confusing for the native, it's confusing for the astrologer to decipher it. Sure, we can look at divisional charts where planets are in a separate thing, but your birth happened in the map of this conjunction. And you've got to understand, people are born in a certain groups. People with certain karmas are born into certain groups. So you're born in a group with people with certain karmas. This is why you can't say, well, everybody has a different chart. Sure, everybody has a different chart. But how many criminals are out there? Millions upon millions. That means there's something working very similar. How many rapists are out there? Hundreds and thousands, maybe millions around the world. Well, there's something similar that is working. How many doctors are out there? Millions of doctors. Even though they have separate chart, they have a certain group setting, which makes them a doctor. So even if it's weeks apart, this conjunction could stay together for like at least 2.5 days. So in that 2.5 days, you can have thousands of people born with similar group setting of karma, you know. So anyway, guys, this was my 5 planetary conjunction with confusion of Rahu and Saturn. I can't believe this. This is the second time I had to film this, because I started talking about Rahu when I was wanting to add Saturn. I should have just gone with the Rahu thing when I first started, because I'm like, well, I want to stick with a chronological order, but it's Rahu, man. It's about to change signs in a couple of days, so probably that's what's happening. It's very strong. So anyway, guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss future conjunction videos. And for all the other astrological details, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.